Hi guys, so today I'm going to be doing a video about a topic that I would always ask when I worked at Sephora. Everybody would always want to know, like, the foundation that lasts the longest. How do I make my makeup last? How do I make my makeup stay on my face? You know, I put it on in the morning and then, you know, by lunchtime it's completely gone, it's completely off my face. How does it last? So there's no big mystery. It's actually very simple to keep your makeup on. You just have to follow a couple of steps, do a couple of things with your skincare, your makeup products, and just kind of discipline yourself into making it a habit. And it's easy to wear your makeup. Like, I would literally, when I worked at Sephora, I would go in on Saturday at 12 o'clock in the afternoon and I would do my face, you know, at maybe 10:30 and 10:30 in the morning, and I would go out that night at like 10 p.m. and stay out till 2, and my makeup was still on. That being said, it doesn't look as amazing as it did look, you know, when I first put it on, but it was still there, so I'm going to tell you how you can do that too. So the first thing is really all about your skin. You want to know your skin. You want to know what type of skin you have. That's something that I feel like sometimes people get confused about, whether you're oily, dry, or normal. Combination, I hate, you know, the whole concept of combination skin, because I think that it confuses people about what products to buy and how to tackle their skincare routine. Basically, if you're dry, I think you'll know it. Your skin can be peely in certain areas, like the forehead, even in the like T-zone area where somebody else might be oily. You may feel like you look more wrinkled because your skin is kind of sucked of moisture. You don't get shiny throughout the day, you get more dry. And then obviously if you have oily skin, you know if you have oily skin. You know, the twins, my best friends, they have oily skin and they're always like, am I oily? They're always blotting themselves. There's different levels of it. If you have super oily skin, you could put your makeup on and then in an hour you could just be like dripping. Or you could be kind of be half and half, you know, where you do get oily towards the end of the day, but it's not like insane. And then there's people that kind of, their skin changes with the seasons. They're a little more dry in the winter, a little more oily in the summer, but tend to be pretty normal, and that would mean, yeah, you have normal skin. I kind of think mine's normal. It's just right in between. So the reason that knowing your skin type is so important is because you need to buy a foundation and primer and moisturizer accordingly. And you need to do this because if you have oily skin and you buy Cover FX cream foundation, that is going to slide right off your face. That will never stay on. It will never stay good looking because that is a very creamy, dewy foundation. So you're going to want something way more matte, like, you know, a Lancome full coverage matte finish, the Naked foundation by Urban Decay, the Too Faced one, Born This Way, that's matte. It's not extremely matte, but basically you get the gist. And then it goes on the other hand too. If you're really dry and you get something that is super, super matte, that's just not going to work with your skin. Your skin's going to kind of like suck it all up / like reject it, and it's not going to go on smoothly and just not really look good, and just, it's not going to work. Same with your skincare. If you are super oily, you may want to consider getting like a gel moisturizer. You always want to use a moisturizer regardless if you're oily or not, but a gel is going to be a little bit less hydrating than something so creamy. And if you're dry, you're going to want something really creamy. Basically, what you want to do is get your skin balanced. So once you know your skin type and you have, you know, the correct moisturizer for you and the correct foundation for you, that's your first step. You want to make sure that when you're going out, you use that particular moisturizer. We'll say you're oily, you want to use your gel, and you want to make sure you have your matte foundation. Basically, what makes your makeup come off is, a lot of the times, it is oiliness. Anytime that anything is wet on your face, on your lips, whatever, it's going to be more likely to come off. That's why lip stains are matte and they stay on so long. Anything that's matte is dry, it doesn't transfer, it doesn't move. So a lip gloss does. It's constantly being touched, moved, whatever. Same concept with your face. If your face is all oily and wet and you kind of touch it or it gets on anything or whatever, it's going to start to break down quicker. It's just going to come off easier. So next thing, also, I mean, kind of backtracking, is a primer. I personally do not use a primer 99% of the time. But if you are oily, I do believe you should use one. I just don't use them because I'm normal. You really just want to have a base for your foundation. So my base, I just use my moisturizer and that's fine. It kind of You want something that your foundation can stick to. That's another thing. If you're dry, your foundation doesn't have anything to stick to. Like, if you're not moisturized, if there's nothing on your skin, it just won't stick. I don't really know any other way to say it. So having that really nice base is really important. If you are oily, you do want to get a primer that's super mattifying. The Becca primer is insanely mattifying. I won't even go near that primer. Hourglass primer is amazing. And then if you are dry, you could just use your moisturizer as a base, or just get like a super hydrating primer. If you're dry, stay away from those like silicone pore minimizing primers. That's just gonna not really go well with dry skin, in my opinion. It's better for oily skin, and it's mostly for making pores appear smaller. I really don't like those silicone based primers, to be honest. Next thing you're gonna wanna make sure you do is use a setting powder. This is kind of the same for both. Even if you are dry, you just want to use something like a translucent powder, just a very light dusting, just to set it and forget it. But then also, if you're oily, you know, using your setting powder is super important, because that's what's going to keep your foundation from getting uber oily. So you want to get, again, you could use a translucent powder, you could just use a mattifying foundation powder and just pack that on, and that will give you extra coverage too. But always, always, always use a setting powder. It's so important, and definitely make sure makeup lasts way longer. So the next thing is what a lot of people do and don't realize, and this is going to take discipline, is don't touch your face. It's literally like almost that simple, that if you have the right products for your skin, if you have a good moisturizer, primer, foundation that's right for you, not for your friend Susan, and her dry skin, and you're oilier than butter. But then if you're sitting around all day and you're touching your face, look, I'm not gonna do it, but I'm like, pretending, if you're touching your face, or whatever. We touch our faces so often we don't even realize it. I'm not gonna preach about like acne and causing bacteria. I'm just saying, if you touch your face, your makeup's gonna come off. It's not a tattoo. Like, you can't just rub it and have it not come off. That there's no makeup that's that powerful besides like, a cream eyeshadow. But you're not putting cream eyeshadow all over your face. It's foundation. So you really cannot touch your face at all. Even when I like want to put my hand on my face, like I just do like my neck, because it's just, that's the #1 way I feel like people just don't realize, is they're just kind of touching their face and things are rubbing against their face. If you take off a hoodie, if you put on a shirt. So I'm going out tonight, right? So I put on my shirt before I did my makeup. If I pulled it over my head, just something would get moved. And then throughout the night, if people hug me, I like, lean my face away from them, because A, I don't want to make their clothing, caked with makeup, and B, I don't want to, them to touch my makeup and, rub it off. There's this party that I was at a couple weeks ago, and this guy was so drunk, and he just kept like touching my fucking face, and I was ready to like freak out. I was not drunk, and he was, and he's my friend, and I know he was just wasted and being like silly, and he was like da-da-da, like tapping me, and I was like, dude, I love you and all, but just, you gotta like stop touching my face immediately. Like, get your hands off my fucking face, because he was taking my makeup off and it wasn't cool. And that is the basic principle of it. Setting sprays, I don't believe in setting sprays like that. I have said this before, I think they help with powderiness. So if you feel that you're looking very powdery and you've overdone it, with the setting powder, that's when I think if spray comes in handy, just to kind of tone down that cakey, powdery look. So I do like them for that. But do I believe that that's keeping your makeup on? No, I really don't. I just don't see how that would work. Like, how is a water spray going to keep my makeup on? I see that liquid and a powder to set it to keep it nice and dry is going to keep it on, but I don't get a setting spray. So basically, to wrap up, you just want a nice balance. You want your skin to be kind of normal. You want it to have something to stick to. Your foundation, you want your foundation to have something to stick to, whether it be your moisturizer or your primer. If you're too dry and using a primer that's dry and then putting on a dry foundation, nothing's gonna stay and you're gonna be patchy and it's not gonna be good. So, just take the advice of your girl at your makeup counter. I hope she knows what she's doing, because not all of them do. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them for you. I feel like I'm, rambling at the speed of light in this video, but I don't know, I just feel like I had a lot of information, and yeah. So I'm headed out the door, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Bye, guys.